Okay, I thought I'd make a video about explaining cracks and how to repair them in iron. This had a crack right here. I put a pin already here, so I'm putting a pin here. Okay, and these are what we call pins, stitching pins. This one I prepped it and washed it. So you drill the hole, and I've got a tap for it. And I got a specially made ream. Go in there and ream it first, tap it. You don't necessarily always have to use this, but what I'm going to do is where this is cracked, I am going to, drill it, tap it, and I'm running it all the way through the head. And what that does is that allows me to what I consider peering it. So I'm basically driving the pin down all the way through. I'm capturing the back side of it and the front side of it, and I will put that pin straight through there. I ran a pin at the end of the crack, a little bit past it. Now I've drilled it at an angle, so I'm going into the head this way. So basically what I'm doing with these pins is I'll put one in, and I'll step over that pin, and I'll put another pin in and another pin. There's not a need for another pin. There's no place to put it. So 2 pins will do it. And sometimes 1 pin will do it. And if you put 1 pin in, there's different ways of fixing the pin with sealer. Of course, I should back up and say sealing the pin. You're fixing the pin by just the sheer fact that it's a taper and you're driving it in. What I will do is I'll drive the pin in, and then I will mark it how far I want to go, and then I will cut it off. Now, if I'm going just through a deck like this, I don't run the pin all the way through the deck and have it hang in there. It looks like a porcupine. It looks like a poor job that way. And when I cut my pins, I save them. So these pins will be allowed to be used again and again until there's nothing left of them. So they're kind of expensive, and they're getting harder to find. A lot of guys don't do this. A lot of guys, there's a lot of different ways of doing it. A lot of guys would say, well, just hew it out and weld it. Well, you're introducing stress, and unless you're using iron, you're not really welding. You're brazing nickel and brass. We can get into that in another video, but I always prefer to use brass. The color don't match, but brass is always, if you got to weld something and it's iron, I always like to use brass. Nickel can give you some problems in machining. There's other nickels that are machinable, and I've used them. I prefer always to cold repair. Why fix this head? Well, chances are you're not going to find another one of these heads, and if you did, in the time to clean it all up and everything, you might find out that all the time invested, which is time invested in these heads already, you'll find a crack. Well, in a perfect world, we'd just get another casting, and if it was new, that'd be even better. But chances are, this is an inherited problem with most of them, and they're either going to do it if they haven't done it already. That's my feeling on it. I'll put this pin in, and I will put hardened seats on all the exhaust sides, and hopefully that's the end of that. But anyways, you can use 638 Loctite. You can put JB Weld on these. You can put them in dry. And then you can use a peener like this. I prefer to do a little bit of both. I'll put sealer on it, and then I will peen it a little bit. Then I will cut it flush, and there's a pin right there, and you have to look pretty hard to find it, but there's a pin there. Once the seat's down on this, we'll be good to go. Like I said, this is just me showing how I put pins in. Might not be how somebody else puts them in. I'm just, for somebody that's curious and never seen this particular operation, it's pretty straightforward. If you can drill and tap, you can put pins in. And you just run it all the way in, and I'll have it marked. I'll cut it halfway through the pin, and then I will drive it in with a wrench right here, and when I clean break it off, I will grind it a little bit of proud, a little high, and then I will walk around it with my peening tool and then after that I will grind it flush. I can get into the more in depth with this, but I just thought I'd make a quick little video showing how you can repair iron as a cold process. There's many ways to do it. This is just one of them. So if you haven't seen it, you have now. And that's it. Thanks.